Amsoft 10.0 and higher now installs with a new security program. Now, when you open Amsoft, you will be prompted for logon information. Amsoft has been loaded with 2 default users, Supervisor, which has full access, and Clerk, which has more limited access. Both of these are set up with no password, so you can get in quickly and easily. We'll go ahead and open Amsoft, and we're going to use our Supervisor. Now, if you don't really want security with Amsoft, you can just do that. Just enter Supervisor, click OK. Everyone can use the same login, and you're in. I would recommend, however, at least changing Supervisor to something more unique for your agency. So now we're going to go in and show you how to set up security, however detailed or limited you want it to be. We're going to go up to File in Amsoft and down to Security, which will prompt you to re-log in, and we'll need to use Supervisor. And this is our security system. I first want to show you the groups up here at the top. You can set as many groups as you like, and the purpose of the groups is so that you can set what permissions and access and denials of different sections of Amsoft you want for whole groups of users in your office. They can each have their own individual logins, but this will help you set them up quicker. Once you have a certain group of access, then you can quickly add that to any of your users. It'll save you a lot of time. So we have this manager group, which is what our supervisor is set up with, which is full access. And I'm going to click on change to show you. So under group members, it shows us which of your users are in this group. Right now, we only have supervisor. The area at the top is the different areas of Amsoft that you have items that can be allowed or disallowed, or granted or not granted. And you can see all the green arrows. That means full access. We'll click OK to save that and go to our CSR, which is what our clerk is set up under. And we click on change, we can see the difference. There's green areas for the areas that are granted, and it's blank when that item is not granted. You can see there's a description. And if we click on the different areas, we get different descriptions of items inside of those individual areas. Now, I suggest when you're setting up different member groups that you first click Grant All and then individually clear, which removes the green area, the arrow, from any of the items. That way you make sure that you haven't missed something important that you need to give everybody access to. So we'll click on OK to save that and close to close out of the groups. And now we're going to go to your users, which is each of the users in Amsoft. And this is universal for your Amsoft. So if you make a change, addition, or deletion in here, it does it for all of your users, all of your computers that have Amsoft. So right now we're going to click on change to take a look at our clerk that's already set up. So up here we have the username, and you can see it was set up with no password. If there is no password, then you simply leave the password blank when logging in and click on OK. If you add a password, you would need to enter the password before you click on OK. Down here it shows you which group or groups they're assigned to. Locked. If you check this, this specific user will be locked from Amsoft. When they log in, they'll get a pop-up box instead of Amsoft that says, "Your account has been locked. Please see the administrator." This would be handy if you wanted to not let someone in Amsoft at all for a short period of time, or maybe you have a lot of people in your office and you want them to come see you before they go into Amsoft, or maybe even just you're updating Amsoft and you want to make sure everybody's out and they don't go in. You could set this. You can easily come back in and uncheck it, and then once you save that, they can go back in. Again, just like in the groups area, the areas section is all the areas of Amsoft that can be changed access permissions to. You can see now we have 2 different columns of green areas. The right one is for the group that was set, and that automatically imports in depending on the group you select. Individual is that you can change individual access, which overrides the group permissions. So if you have a group that you've set up and you have a user that you want to have slightly different access to, you can still assign them to the group and then you can customize it for that user. You can simply highlight something that's allowed and deny it. You would click clear to set it back to just the regular group access. Or you can go to something that is disallowed and grant it. So anything in the individual column is given better access than the group column. So anything is going to override anything in the group column. You'll click on OK to save this. And I'm going to go ahead and start from the beginning and add a new user to show you how simple it is. We'll click on Insert. We're going to give them a username. I'm just going to use user. I'm going to give them a password, 1234. I'm going to click on Insert under Groups and assign them to my CSR group, my limited access group. It takes a moment, but once you click around, it imports the access. And I'm going to go ahead and allow to the delete button and then save this user. And that's all there is to it. This user is now set up and can log into Amsoft. I'm going to close out of our users and show you one other item. That's our audit section. You may not find this useful. You may find it useful. It's going to show you all the logins for all of your users, the time and the date. It also records a little bit more data of certain items in certain areas of Amsoft. So you will get some things that maybe have changed or deleted, but it's not a lot. I wouldn't recommend relying on it for any information. If you do come in here often, this file will get very large from logging all of the logins, especially if you have a lot of users. So you may need to purge it from time to time, which you can do with this button at the bottom left. It automatically defaults to saving the last 2 months of data and deleting everything else. So we'll close out of that. And last but not least, this help button. If you have some questions, but you don't want to watch this video again, you can come here and it goes over a lot of the things we've discussed. So that's all there is to it. We can go ahead and close out of security, close out of Amsoft. And when we go back in, we can now use the new user that we've set up. And as you can see, we have access to our delete button, just like we asked. Well, I hope that's been helpful to you. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call us. We'd be happy to help.